What in the world just happened in the newest chapter of One Punch Man? I mean, it literally seems like Sukuna from JJK has somehow entered the One Punch Man verse. Blast performs one of the biggest feats of power we've ever seen to save the Hero Association, and we leave off on a cliffhanger that might have just teased the super exciting reunion of two heroes. So this is the second redrawn chapter of the current Ninja Village arc. If you guys are following the manga week to week, then you know that the 8 most recent chapters of the manga are being completely redone to give us a rebooted version of this arc. And I mean, if last chapter didn't convince you that Ninja Arc 2.0 will be better than the original, this chapter will leave absolutely no doubt. So this is chapter 196 and it's titled Threat. And here we are, we're right back to the Fubuki chapter covers. We got a little break from them for a while, but we're right back to them. But anyway, we pick up this chapter continuing the meeting between Flashy Flash, Saitama, and Minako, and Blast and Sitch. If you guys remember, in the first revised chapter of this arc, we not only got the exciting meeting between Saitama and Blast, we also got the very valuable information that Blast does indeed know of Saitama's strength, because he literally witnessed him fighting Cosmic Fear Garo, and as it stands right now, it seems that the farthest his knowledge goes of the fight is up until that Gamma Ray burst, so he still doesn't understand Saitama's full power, but he has a pretty good idea that this guy is pretty damn strong. Well, in this chapter, we continue with them, as Flashy Flash demands Blast give him more information about God, and Blast just stares silently and responds by saying, if you're thinking about joining the fight, then forget about it. Someone like you would die against God for sure. And of course, Flashy Flash, being the prideful guy that he is not going with that plan. And he says that he won't be satisfied until he showers God with slashes. But then he goes on to explain why this God fight seems so personal to him, which leads him into explaining his experience at the Ninja Village. If you guys read the previous version of the arc, it's pretty much a 1-for-1 copy and paste of everything he says from the previous version. But there is one thing that changes. Flashy Flash goes on about the Ninja Village he was raised in, where it was housed in this cube-like structure that was inaccessible to any kind of outsiders because they had this barrier around it. And a long while back, a young Flashy and Sonic once came across a God Cube themselves, and along with that came across an incubation chamber, one housing the leader of the Ninja Village himself and a disciple of God, because they take a look at his face and he's very clearly not human. And now seeing the new revised version of the Ninja Leader, to be honest, I didn't mind the previous version. I don't mind this one, so whatever, you know? Well, now knowing all this new information about God, Flashy Flash deduces that the main goal for the Ninja Village wasn't to produce high-level assassins. That was kind of a byproduct of it. It was mainly meant to be this like farm for potential minions of God. Well, either way, Blast says that he can't let him join this fight and reveals something that we already knew from the previous version, that man from the Ninja Village was actually his former partner, Empty Void. In his own words, he fell under God's control during our search for the cubes. If he and I hadn't failed, those youngsters wouldn't have tragically had their lives taken away in the village, and there wouldn't be so many assassination victims. It's a problem that I must take responsibility for. So this seems to be a change from the original Ninja Village arc. There's like more of a personal connection being built here. Blast is taking personal responsibility for all the people that have died as a result of the Ninja Village, both people that were confiscated because they were deemed unworthy by God, and also all the assassinations that were caused by assassins from that village. Then Blast goes into detail into their last encounter, and this one little panel of Blast fighting Empty Void we get is almost exactly the same as the previous version, but the context around it is way different, because here he says originally he and I were of equal ability, and since he was given power, he had a big advantage, but I gave him a serious wound that will take him 15 years to recover from. So that's a massive detail right there. This is Blast straight up admitting that Empty Void, before he became a monster, was already on his level. So right off the bat, the Ninja Leader is being made to be way stronger than he originally was, which I think is awesome. It raises the stakes a little bit to me. In the previous version, Empty Void seemed to be like a lot stronger than Flashy Flash and Sonic, obviously, but not nearly as strong as Blast. So I'm glad that this might be setting up a potential like super epic fight between them. And with what we're about to see in a couple pages, I think that's going to leave you guys with absolutely no doubts in your mind that Empty Void is the real deal. He is 100% the strongest threat we've seen since Cosmic Fear Garo. And this is going to seem like a super hot take, but he might even be on par with him in some areas. Well, after this conversation, we see the reason why Blast is there to see Sitch in the first place, because they're conducting some experiments where they take people who have consumed monster cells and try to do some form of shock therapy to them to where they can separate the monster cells from their body and turn them into humans again. In particular, these are the people that we saw in the super fight tournament that Saitama was in that were actually forced to eat monster cells. It seems like up until that point, the experiments have not bared any fruit. They've all been failures. But in this particular instance, one of the monsters seems to have finally got jog to his senses and obtain some of his human sensibility again. He crawls up from the ground and starts crying and saying, "I chose to become a monster in front of all those kids. If we don't do this, then I won't be able to show my face to everyone again." So with this, it gives them some hope that they're on the right track, and coupling the story we just got about the ninja leader being Blast's former partner, and the fact that Blast is here to watch this experiment, has Saitama put 2 and 2 together here, and ask Blast, "So you want to turn your partner back to a human then, huh?" And Flashy Flash pretty much says, like, even if it's possible, do you even know if Empty Void would be someone that would be taken alive? And before Blast can respond, he senses something massive coming, because all he can do is say, "Oh no," and start charging up his hands. And literally out of freaking nowhere, he smashes his hands together and straight up teleports the entirety of the Monster Association away. I'm assuming to a different dimension or something, but all we know is that it's not here, because it completely disappears. But right at that moment, as the Hero Association disappears, we get these massive slashes coming from all directions, closing in on where it was. And like, the sheer scale of this attack is massive, because we then see that the Hero Association re-emerges where it was, and just comparing the size of the facility with the slashes, like, it is unreal amounts of damage in an instant. And we're about to find out who dealt this attack, because at the very top of the Hero Association, we see Blast, Flashy Flash, Monako, Saitama, and Sitch, and everybody else is just as confused as we are. But Blast starts to explain, "This is Void's Dimension Blade. Seems like he is fully recovered now. I guess this is his way of greeting us." And Flashy Flash just responds in disbelief, "Dimension Blade? Don't tell me that this is one of his techniques." And Blast is just like, "Yeah." So this is yet another massive reveal here. This dude can apparently do massive dismantles like Sukuna, literally cutting reality itself. Now, in a prediction video I made while the original arc was going on, I predicted that the blades that the ninja leader had would have some type of powers like this. So I'm super happy that we're going in this direction with his abilities, because this proves right away why he's on par with Blast. Like, it's not just talk, we saw it right here why he is. He can do dimensional attacks just like Blast can, and the entirety of the Hero Association would have been completely vaporized if he hadn't been there. While now being shown a small taste of the ninja leader's true power, Saitama asks the very obvious question, "Do you think you can win?" And Blast, of course being the Chad that he is, he says, "Well, I'll figure it out. I haven't just been playing around either." But that's not even the most exciting thing from this page, because right under that we see Saitama looking off in the distance with Monako, and he says that looks like Tatsumaki. And I don't know about you guys, but that got me super freaking excited for the next chapter, because that means that Tatsumaki is finally going to be reunited with Blast. I can only imagine the type of conversation they're about to have. I mean, the last time they really spoke was when he saved her from that scientific facility when she was still a little girl. And now knowing that Tatsumaki is involved with all this Tsukiyomi stuff from the previous Psychic Sisters arc, I just have a feeling there's about to be some more massive reveals in the next chapter. Let me know what you guys thought about this chapter. I thought it was a solid like 8.5 out of 10. The only reason I don't give it a higher score is because there wasn't a single fight here, but everything else was absolutely perfect. With that being said, make sure to click the video you see on your screen right now to get some more sweet One Punch Man content. That is it for this one. Have an absolutely wonderful morning, evening, afternoon, whatever, and I'll see you guys in the next video.